Everything happens on a timing that you can't recognize for being perfect timing until it happens. It goes along with the same thing when people ask, how long is it going to take for me to be profitable? I don't know. It happens differently for everyone. But it's directly related to how you think and how you study. What expectations are you placing on yourself? The ones that have very, very reasonable expectations, they're the ones that do the best in terms of timeline, the learning curve, the amount of time. But the ones that have really astronomical results in mind, that they think that they have to do some Olympic feat, they're the ones that many times are having still never met a string of profitability yet, because they're trying to do something external than other than finding a model that repeats in tape reading, not demo trading. And then when they find it in tape reading, then forward test it with a demo for months and be bored with that. Don't rush to the point where, oh yeah, I've done it 6 times the last 2 days. I'm bored with this. It's time for me to start trading with real money. No, you're not ready. When you feel like you have done enough of demo trading with your model and it's consistent, you know what you're doing, you're not surprised by what price is doing, and then you don't care ultimately about the money, but you're going to go into trading a account that yields payout money, something you can trade with a funded account, or if you're putting real money into an account. When you are bored with the demo trading, but you're going to go into it no matter what anybody else would tell you, you're going to do it, but you're only going to trade with one contract and you're going to stick with that, and you actually do that, not trade with more. If your mindset is like that, that is usually where I would agree, but I don't ever tell anybody when to trade with real money. But that would be where we would agree at that time that it's probably some time at that moment or in the near future, you're probably going to want to transition to trading with real money. But you're going to know when that happens because no one's going to tell you you're not going to. You've exhausted all the time and interest in doing it in demo only, and you're consistent with it. You're not impulsively pushing the button. You're not romancing the uncertainty. You're embracing that uncertainty. You have tools, you have protocols and things that you trust that deliver. And you believe that while they're not perfect and you're not going to be perfect, it yields a high degree of probability that is in your favor. So therefore, by repeating and following that same logic, it's reasonable to assume that as long as you don't put exorbitant risk on your trades, you could have a positive outcome. And over time, that positive outcome with one contract can be parlayed up into more contracts used, but the risk never increases percentage-wise. Settle in on 1.5% as a maximum risk. If you're really, really good, trade with half a point of 1% risk when you're first starting with real money. But you're going to say, but I can't make a lot of money doing that. You're a fucking liar. You're a liar. You can make lots of money with that. You can make lots of money with that. You don't understand compound interest. Compound interest is a factor that does all the heavy lifting. You can start with 1/10 of 1%. Just starting and being consistent over time, the compounding effects of increasing as you make more, it's exponential. It literally starts going vertical the longer you keep doing the consistent application of what it is that you found profitability in. It doesn't matter how much you start with. It doesn't matter how much you risk in the beginning. If it's small risk, that small risk does more heavier lifting 6 months down the road, 1 year down the road. And inside of 18 months, any of you that have a consistent application of a model that you've framed out, and you're sticking to those models, and you're now learning when to avoid the market's going to be problematic, that in itself is a game changer. That's a game changer. Knowing when you're not going to most likely blow your account or hurt yourself in drawdown. When's it going to be harder for you to trade? Knowing that and sitting outside of the market and having no issues with that. No one's going to influence you to get in it, and you're not going to feel bad that the market maybe have moved even though you were outside of it. You can sleep at night with that. That's someone that's going to make a lot of fucking money. That's someone that's going to make so much fucking money. It's going to be crazy. But that's a very hard skill set to adopt. It's hard. That's a hard lesson for a teacher to communicate to a student, because they all want to go, get me into a trade. And until they blow accounts, they're not ready to learn these lessons of knowing when to sit still. And as long as you feel impulsive and you don't want to learn lessons like that, you see no value in that, I guarantee you're not profitable. And I guarantee you will not be profitable until you fix that. That was my underlying issue. That was mine. I thought every day I was going to be able to make a lot of money. And I would be right about what I was doing, being a permabull, only buying, never shorting. And when the market says, no, I'm not going up, I'm trying to buy it as a 20-year-old, and it's saying, no way, I'm not going up there. And it would crash down lower. And I would think, okay, well, now it's at a level it really should go up from. And I was doing things wrong. In the beginning, in your early stages, your ignorance blinds you to the depths of your inabilities to see your own faults. It's impossible for us to recognize it. That's why you have to have a teacher. You have to have a mentor. You have to. Because left to your own devices, you're going to hurt yourself. And you don't realize doing things incorrectly for a long period of time, it creates extremely bad habits. And it'd be easy to assume that, oh, well, if someone tells you the right logic, it's easy to drop bad habits and just do the right thing and learn what the things that you're supposed to be doing. And I have mentorship groups that prove that that is not true. I mean, come on. It's a lot of things that you have to wrestle with when you